Welcome to the Coach Harp Show. Today we have a very special guest from far, far away. He is from Nigeria. Welcome, Amadi Chukwuemeka. How are you doing today?
Thanks a lot, Coach, for having me on your show today. I'm good. How are you doing too, Coach?
I am doing good. Amadi, I know that you're doing a lot of noble stuff. Let's go back a little bit tell us about a little bit of your environment that you are in, some of the challenges
Yeah,
that you face.
yeah. I come from Nigeria. Predominantly, I come from the southeastern part of Nigeria, which has to do with predominantly the Igbo-speaking tribe. Over here in Nigeria and West Africa, we have a lot of challenges ongoing, owing to a lot of kids out of school and a lot of issues with upbringing with kids. Not much people having total parental and then not opportunity to go into school. We could attribute a lot of issues to social issues here in Nigeria that has to do with poverty, diseases. It has to do with homelessness, upbringing of the youth, in economically disadvantaged home, and then the current crisis with the insurgency, terrorism from the Boko Haram sets that take over the northern part of Nigeria and taking kids, conscripting them into terrorist camp and making them worse than they are. All this because kids can't have an alternative to good food, alternative to education, alternative to shelter and all that, and then they can taking advantage of themselves, to get them into all these vices. So that's where we're coming from. We started trying to see what we can do to help these kids out of the situation which they are, because if we don't wage in time, we couldn't be able to assist them as much as we can. So Nigeria predominantly, we have over 200 million people in population, and then 75% of this population is youth from the ages of 30 down. So you can imagine what it looks like, the new generation of Nigerians coming up without much hope for survival, much hope to be able to attain excellency, much hope to be able to live up their dreams. So this is where we're coming from.
I want to say thank you for sharing that. Now, what really bothers me a little bit is about this man you mentioned and how he uses kids for his advantage. Now, that must be pretty tough to deal with something like that.
Yeah, yeah, coach. This is a big situation, out here in Africa, not only Nigeria situation. A lot of kids coming from economically disadvantaged home where uh, they live below $1 per day, which is not really helpful. A lot of people are out there without jobs, looking out for parents looking out for jobs. They couldn't, be able to earn a living for them and their families. So it becomes an uphill for the parents and then the kids as well, to survive. That's why so many kids end up, are on the streets, and so many of them try to, help to assist the family to earn a living. And that's the picture, the greater picture, what looks like kids dropping out of school rather than going to school. They're out in the streets trying to help their parents, to be able to fend for themselves and fend for the family. So we find a lot of kids out there, rather than being in school, they're out in the street and they're trying to help out, the much they can. But one good thing we can draw out from all this is that Nigerians never give up. Every kid out there in the street, most are talented, most have a lot of big dreams. They want to make it in life, so they don't give up their hopes and their dreams. And so that is where we're picking them from. Because yeah, if you don't lose your hope, if you don't lose your focus and your dream, you could be able to live them up no matter what the difficulties are. So we identifying these kids in the streets, we try as much as possible to try to see how we could be able to assist them the best way we can, and then also getting them in school and then helping them through our sport assisted scheme, to be able to get scholarships and as well, to study locally here in Nigeria and also abroad in overseas. And this been a major success for us, over the years.
How did you get into your line of work and your
Yeah.
passion?
Oh man, that's a good question, coach. Like, I played rugby football a couple of years back, and then I have this love for football itself, So, and then I identified that there is no football going on here in Africa. Not much football going on in Africa. I could just identify only in Egypt. That was the early stage, the development of the sports, in Africa, the whole continent. Mind you, Africa is about 56 countries in the continent of Africa, and then we have not much going on with football. But then when you look at the sheer number of people, athletes playing the NFL and the CFL, you could identify a lot of black, Africans, playing out there coming from Nigeria. And I felt, oh, this could be a good, initiative for us to initiate this sport, create it here in Nigeria and try to help the kids out of it. Of course, I understand football, and then so there's not much variation between the rugby football and the actual football itself. So I took up that, for myself to introduce the sport here in Nigeria. And then ever since then, it's been a success in the sense that we've been able to, groom athletes, become, great kids, playing high schools in the United States, playing All America by the Under Armour, All America, the US Army, All America, and all that, most of them going to colleges. And then the big thing that happens, last year was a huge one for us, for kids, that never had played football in the United States or never had played football across Europe, for them to have an opportunity to go to the NFL IPP, that's International Path Players, for the NFL. I have three kids from Nigeria, graced that IPP, and two of them worked directly under my, tutelage. I taught them football from scratch. And then I'm grateful to God to be able to impact the life of these kids the positive way today they're in the NFL. Haggai Chisom is playing with the Arizona Cardinals, and then Ogeni Kainde Hassan is now with the Chiefs. So that's a huge story for us. We have a lot of these kids in universities, like Peter Agabe. He also is playing for North Carolina University, and then we have also Ebuka Audio in Kentucky University. So many of all these kids playing in most of these big stage, coming out from Africa where they have no football. You can imagine, 15 years today, there was nothing like football going on in Nigeria, not much going on in Africa. And then you can see, the year 2010, the summer 2010, we started off this football program, and then today we're having a lot of successes. Then today we can have the NFL. The NFL now is now in Africa with NFL Africa. This is part of the jobs we've been doing so far to try to give the game a visibility and have the NFL focus its attention here. So the success stories of all these kids, coming all the way from Africa and gracing the big stadiums, big podiums, over there in the States, has caused NFL to come down to Africa. This is part of what we're doing, and we want to really do more. Yeah.
By you saying that and what you're doing really, really hits my heart because I know some of the challenges that you go through, and I know you and I have had some very good chats back and forth. You are a very admirable man with what you're doing, with the challenges that you have. Let's talk a little bit about you growing up as a child and some of the stuff that you went through in life.
Yeah, actually, I came from a family of six. My parents, my dad is a professor of entomology in the university out here in Amadi University, which has to be the biggest university in West Africa. My mom is an administrator. I came up from a middle class family predominantly. I had the best of education. Um, and then I was fortunate enough to be able to have the best conditions to grow up. But then along the line, it became tough and difficult for my parents to be able to help out, in the sense that my dad at a point in time before he came into the university system, he's lost his job. I have to rely on my mom. She's the only one working to try to help the family. But then that didn't deter us. At a point in time, we had to, try to help the family like every other kid in Africa. We had to hawk, try to sell one or two things like, beverages and all that in the street. After school, we got do that on our own voluntary way. I have four siblings, No, I have three siblings, two male and then a female. But then I and my brothers had to go after school to try to make some money for the family while keeping the family up going. So we did it with love in the sense that we weren't forced to do that. But we have seen how difficult it is for us to be able to manage the family and as well as go to school. All this on my mom, so we had to do that, joyfully, and then we did that, with all form of aplomb. That yeah, we're able to do that. If other kids can do that, we can be able to do that. So we came up, after that, somehow, and then God blessed my dad again. He had a job again back, and then things begin to go on fine. But then you don't have everything to yourself. You need to walk up to school. I trek about, 2, 3 miles from home to school. You can imagine coming from a middle class family. I had to trek to school. That's how reality is. Every day I wake up in the morning by 5 o'clock, have my prayers, with the family prayers and all that, dress up to school without eating. I got to go without breakfast, trek about 3, 4 miles to school. After school, coming back in the evenings, I have to trek back to school again, trek back home again from school without eating. So I come back every day about 5 o'clock p.m. Before I could have the first meal for the day. So that gives me that great not to give up my dream because it became part of me, and that really worked on me all through the day of my life because up to this moment, I could stay out of food, I could stay out of water. I could be able to, help myself, physically because I had to trek. I had to, sometimes jog to school. I and my brothers jog to school. That keeps us physically fit. That we don't give up. So everything I received while growing up, it was a training for me. I was able to go to school. I went to university. I had my first degree in textile science and technology. I had also, a postgraduate degree in computer sciences. I have various certifications, here and there. And then God has been blessing me. So far, I've been so blessed by God. I'm married. I have 3 kids, and I'm nurturing my own kids, in the right way, in the sense that they had to understand that, life is, for the living, and then you have to live up your life to expectation because people are looking up to you to be able to be better. So I'm wishing them the best in their academics because, of course, they need to live up, to what it looks like, I set the pace, and then they have to, live above them. But I'm not pushing them. I'm just, allowing them to do their thing and then get to the level they need to get to. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. One of the things I'm noticing that you and I are very similar, we are servant leaders. And we are always giving back to the community.
That's correct.
Tell me how that feels inside when you do that.
Well, I'm blessed. I felt that I've been chosen. I'm blessed to be called. I'm fortunate enough, to receive that calling. Is a divine calling to me. I told people every time and then that I don't want to be remembered for a man being, so rich, that had acquired so much cars, so much houses and all that. I want to be remembered for helping as much people off the street. I want to be remembered for taking that little guy out of the street and giving him a life. I want to be remembered for, affecting people's life in a positive way. That's what I want to live up to today. Just last week, I was confirmed, an ambassador for uh, Global Goodwill, of Hope, Global, yeah, of Hope. And then the other time again, I was also confirmed an ambassador for World Peace Ambassador. So these are two different awards, two different confirmation of me being an ambassador, using sport as a vehicle to reach out to the kids and improving their life, instilling peace in the communities where there are no peace, and as well as, trying to give back hope, to many people that have, lost, hope, try to cheer them up, try to give them a lead and mentoring the youth, giving them an opportunity of a lifetime. This is part of what we have been doing. And then apart from that also, I'm also an environmentalist. We want to improve not only ourselves, we want to also improve the environment which we find our activities going on. Without a good environment, we can play football. Without a good environment, we can go to school. We can do most of the things we don't. So we need to watch out for ourselves, for humanity, and as well as the environment as well. So this is what I felt, God has laid in my heart, and that God has brought me into so far. We've been successful doing what we're doing. I'm grateful to God because I couldn't, take credit for what I've been doing. I need to give credit to God and for everyone that has supported me one way or the other, and then every other things that I've faced through. It's been a trying time. It's been a learning curve. It's been a lot of experiences moving through all this trend. But all the same, we have to give thanks to God because all this makes you go better, and then that makes you, feel more. You try to put yourself in a position where you want to do more. You are being spun on by such situation to give you the opportunity to continue to improve the life of so many people. Yeah.
Well, first of all, I want to say congratulations on your awards
Thank
because
you very much, Coach.
a man who gives out more than award is a man, someone who is very compassionate and very motivational, and you are a very inspiring man to me with some of the stuff you do. I want to say thank you because you are a very big part of football with what you do in your community. Because at the end of the day, it's with the challenges and the struggles that you face, you deal with a lot.
Thank you,
And I want
Coach.
to say thank you for that. Do you have any advice for the audience that's listening today?
Yeah, I want to say, just keep doing what you're doing and don't give up your dream. You have to be, focused on what you're doing. You need to be hungry as much as you can, for what you're doing, and then you have to, believe in the process. Then you need to be able to, attach a lot of. For me, I attach a lot of spirituality to what I'm doing because I understand fully that without the intervention of God, I can not achieve what I've been achieving because coming from where I'm coming from and then being up there, where God has placed me, it can only be only God. But then we need to be obedient. We need to, be focused. We just have to be, humble as much and as we are hungry, to be able to achieve as much as we achieve. Never stop learning. You need to be open-minded. Yes, of course. The trenches are tough, but you have to go through the trenches. Don't give up your dream because, of course, things are tough. You must be motivated, filled with your passion and the drive for you to be able to pull through. So my advice to people that are out there is, keep living your dream. Never allow people say it couldn't happen. Yeah, this is who we are. This is where we are coming from. It never happened until we came in, went into stuff, and then it's beginning to happen. Sometimes I take, a lot of, mentorship. Like I take a lot of strength in believing the London brothers. People said man could never fly. Today we have, not only aircraft lifting heavy machineries, here and there, cargoes and all that, it's taking almost everything off, and they're flying. But before then, when they lived up their dream and walking towards it, people say, are you crazy? This couldn't fly. Man couldn't fly. But we are not only flying men to the moon, we are also taking heavy equipment up there. So there's nothing, possibilities, nothing. You could live up your dream. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. If someone wants to get hold of you, Amadi, what are some of the ways?
Can I get that question again, Coach?
If someone from the audience wants to connect with you,
Oh, okay.
how can they reach out to you?
Yeah, okay. You can reach me on my Facebook handle. That's Amadi Chukwuemeka. Or you can get to me through Twitter, Amadi Chukwuemeka on Twitter, Don Baba Megzi at Don Baba Megzi, and then you can reach out to me on email, afam AFFAM dot African Mission. It's a one word at gmail.com, and then you can reach me on my phone, which is plus 234 806 157 1662. So you can reach me on my phone directly, on WhatsApp. You can call me. You can also reach us, our website, which is still under, some technical, upgrade, so we can use www.afamafrica.org. So afam.africa.org, AFFAN, then africa.org. So you can reach us out in that, and then we can, get back to you as soon as we can. Yeah.
I want to say thank you for your time, Amadi. You are one of the many special people that I watch every single day. And the stuff that you do, you know, you're that you're that white light, that shining light that people need. Keep smiling, keep moving forward, and together we will build uh, the work that we do because our passion is stronger than our struggles. As
That's
we're moving
great.
forward, I know you being a coach, myself being a coach, isn't it a beautiful feeling when you coach somebody 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and they say, hey, coach, thank you. That's
Yeah,
what the true meaning of that's what a true meaning of a servant leadership is.
that's correct,
As
coach.
for myself, I'm looking forward to coming out to Africa, Nigeria, and to meet with you and do some of the stuff that you're doing. Your dream of having people in the NFL, you spoke about this to me many years, and you've been at it, and look at the success that you're creating. So hold your head up high and walk tall and be proud of every athlete that you have touched. I'm looking forward to working with you in the near future. Thank you for being on the Coach Harp Show today, Marty.
Thanks a lot, coach. I appreciate, your kind words. Like, for real, coach, I've been watching out, and looking out, so many kind words coming from you. You a great man, a great mentor too. We never stop learning from each other. Like, you spur me on for what you do also out there. And so I felt, comfortable for myself that, yeah, I'm not alone on this. A lot of people are doing similar stuff or even more greater stuff than I'm doing. Yeah, it doesn't matter the environment where we are. What we try to do is to achieve a single aim. There are poor people out there in Europe. There are poor people in the United States. There are poor people in Africa. There are people that are unfortunate. There are less privileged people over the world. What matters is people standing up for that and then trying their best, trying to improve the life of the other person as much as we can. So I'm so grateful to be on this show with you and then sharing this passion and vision. And I want to also look out for you. I'm looking out for you to come over to Africa that we can also keep working and then have a great tag team. Of course, like the scriptures say, one which is 1,000, two which is tens of thousands. That's what the scriptures say. So two of us, in Africa, anchoring program, that would be so very awesome and also, so huge for us to be able to pull off, some of these programs. And then have the kids also see things from different dimension when they have an opportunity to be mentored by the mentor that mentors, them on the pitch all the time, so that gives them another leverage for them to try to, hear from you, from the horse's mouth, like people say, and then also see things from different dimension and knowing fully well that, yeah, we're targeting a point, which is, being focused, being committed, being humble, improving yourself and improving life for so many people around you. Yeah, thank you, coach. Yeah.
You've inspired a lot of people. You've inspired me. Keep doing, keep smiling, and I want to say, stay blessed. And remember, we are who we are
Yeah,
with the passion, and through our heart, we move many mountains.
that's
So
correct,
everyone
coach.
watching Coach Harp Show, stay tuned for more interviews, special guests on season 3 at www.coachharp.ca. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for having me. Thank you. Keep living your dream. Thank you.